In a quiet village nestled among green hills and sprawling farms, lived Princess Adanne. Her father, King Chukmeka, ruled a land with wisdom, and Adanne, his eldest daughter, was beloved for her gentle spirit and kind heart. The villagers admired her grace and humility. Yet behind the beauty and compassion was a painful secret she had battled since childhood, an unusually strong body odor. Even as a little girl, Adanne's scent was noticeably different, far stronger than that of other children. As she grew older, the smell worsened, becoming a sharp, unpleasant trail that followed her wherever she went. Despite her charm and goodness, the villagers slowly began to distance themselves. Some whispered cruel jokes behind her back. Others wrinkled their noses in her presence. Mothers would pull their children away as she walked by, and the girls who once played with her turned in the opposite direction. Each rejection left Adanne feeling more isolated. Suitors from nearby kingdoms admired her beauty and her royal status, but none stayed once they came near. The moment they caught her scent, their intentions vanished. One by one, they walked away, leaving Adanne to suffer in silence. Her heart longed for love, not just any love, but the rare kind that saw beyond her flaws. Most days, she stayed hidden within the palace walls, watching the world through her bedroom window, dreaming of a man who could see her for who she truly was and not what others perceived. One hot, sun-drenched summer day, vibrant with music and laughter, the village below celebrated the annual summer feast. From her high bedroom window, Adanne heard the rhythmic beat of drums and the joyous sounds of people dancing around a bonfire. A spark lit within her. Perhaps she could sneak out unnoticed, just for a glimpse of the happiness she so dearly missed. With quiet steps and a hopeful heart, she slipped out and lingered at the edge of the square, hidden in the shadows. For a few precious moments, no one noticed her. She watched wistfully as girls her age twirled in colorful skirts, their faces glowing with delight. But then, a breeze carried her scent through the crowd. The mood shifted. Noses wrinkled. The music stopped. All eyes turned to her, their stares filled with shock and revulsion. Some gagged. Others whispered and pointed. In an instant, joy turned to ridicule. Humiliated and heartbroken, Adanne fled. She ran through the trees and collapsed behind a thick bush, trembling and sobbing, praying no one would find her. But then, through the rustle of leaves, came the steady thump of a drum, growing louder, drawing nearer. Peeking through the branches, she saw a young man approaching. He was smiling, beating a hand drum cheerfully as he walked straight toward her. When he reached her, he stopped and said gently, "Why did you stop dancing? You look so joyful and free back there." Adanne stared at him, stunned. You can smell me," she whispered. "And yet you still came looking for me?" The others only laugh. They mock me. They say I stink. The young man's smile didn't fade. "Don't worry about them," he replied. "I think you dance beautifully. Let their words fall away. Just be yourself, happy and free." No one had ever spoken to her like this. His kindness touched something deep inside. For the first time in her life, Adanne felt truly seen. With cautious hope, she decided to ignore the taunts that haunted her and do what her heart yearned for: dance. The young man resumed playing, his rhythm upbeat and joyful. Hesitant at first, Adanne swayed lightly, then more confidently. His eyes stayed on her, not with judgment, but admiration. She felt his gaze not on her body, but her spirit. She danced with abandon, her body moving freely, gracefully. The music seemed to pour through her, sweeping away her pain and shame. She leapt and spun, her steps instinctive and full of life. Her heart soared. For once, she wasn't a princess with a curse. She was simply a girl dancing with joy. When the music stopped, she stood breathless, her eyes locked with the strangers. They laughed together, free, unguarded, alive. The young man introduced himself as Aaron, a drummer from a nearby village who played at festivals and celebrations. With a warm smile, he asked if she would meet him here again tomorrow, to talk, to dance, to be together. Adanne, her heart full and light, nodded eagerly. For the first time in years, she felt truly hopeful. Someone had looked past what had always made others turn away, and instead saw her heart, her joy, her spirit. That night, as she returned to the palace, her soul danced with the promise of new beginnings. The exhilaration of truly being seen filled Princess Adanne's heart with a joy she had never known. For the first time in her life, someone wanted to meet her again, not because of her title, but because of who she was. She had made a real friend. Her spirit brimmed with hope and excitement as she eagerly looked forward to their next meeting. In the weeks that followed, Adanne's secret encounters with Aaron became the brightest part of her days. Each afternoon, she would sneak away to their hidden grove behind the bushes, where Aaron would already be waiting with his drums. They shared endless conversations, full of laughter and stories that made hours vanish. Aaron often played lively rhythms, his drumsticks dancing with joy, and Adanne would respond with wild, uninhibited dancing, carefree and radiant. For the first time, she forgot about her lingering body odor, which had always haunted her. Around Aaron, she felt seen and accepted. He made her feel free. When she danced, he watched her not with judgment, but with admiration for her spirit, her beauty, and the essence of her soul. Over time, their bond deepened. What began as friendship blossomed into a tender affection that grew steadily on both sides. Princess Adanne found herself falling deeply in love, and she knew, without doubt, that Aaron felt the same. Yet a quiet ache stirred in her heart. She was royalty, expected to marry for alliances, not love. Aaron was a commoner, a drummer with no noble name or wealth. The world would never allow them to be together. Still, in her most private dreams, she wished desperately that love could triumph over status. Then, one golden afternoon, as they sat close in their leafy haven, Aaron gently took both her hands in his. His eyes brimmed with emotion as he confessed his love and asked her to marry him. He spoke with certainty, saying he didn't care for royal customs or permission. He just wanted a life with her. His wish was that their union might even bring peace between their two villages. Overcome with joy, Adanne burst into tears. She had longed for this moment, but never believed it could be real. She threw her arms around him, whispering yes through joyful sobs as they kissed, a kiss full of freedom, love, and hope. Giddy with possibility, they decided to share their news with their families. First, they would seek her parents' blessing, and then travel to Aaron's village to gain his family's approval. Hand in hand, the pair set off with radiant smiles, dreaming of a shared future. But their joy was short-lived as sudden and deadly plague swept across the land, spreading with terrifying speed. It began with fever and grotesque boils, leading to fits of madness and death within days. In desperation, the leaders of the neighboring villages sealed their borders. No one could enter or leave. Those who tried were captured, quarantined, or even executed. Princess Adanne was trapped in the palace. Weeks turned into months, and there was no way to reach Aaron. Her dreams of a future with him faded into daily prayers for his safety. The fear of losing him forever gripped her soul. Then, one bleak morning, Adanne woke drenched in sweat, feverish, with red boils creeping across her arms. The plague had reached her. Her condition worsened rapidly. She was too weak to lift her head, and nothing the royal doctor tried seemed to help. Her parents watched in agony as their daughter faded before their eyes. In desperation, the queen remembered an old remedy, a bitter tonic once brewed by a village woman when Adanne was a child. Though revolting, it was their last hope. The doctor prepared the concoction, mixing pungent herbs and aged animal blood. They spooned it into Adanne's mouth with trembling hands. A miracle happened. The very next day, Adanne stirred. Slowly, under the queen's loving care and the doctor's unrelenting watch, she began to recover. Within a week, the fever broke. Adanne had survived, still fragile. She rose from bed one morning and made her way to the mirror. What she saw stole her breath. Her skin looked luminous, her body healthier than she could ever remember. She brought her arm to her nose and gasped. The odor that had tormented her all her life was gone, completely gone. Somehow, the endless feverish sweating had purged it from her body. Overcome with disbelief and joy, she twirled in front of the mirror, tears of gratitude spilling down her face. She could scarcely wait to share the miraculous news. The plague had nearly taken her life, but in its wake, it had given her freedom. Months passed, and at last, The quarantines were lifted. The gates of the palace opened. Nervously, Princess Adanne stepped outside. She still remembered the ridicule she used to face in the village, the way people recoiled and whispered cruel insults. But this time was different. As she walked through the marketplace, people stopped to admire her. Instead of recoiling, they smiled. Men stared in awe. Women whispered praises. For the first time, she felt strong, beautiful, and truly accepted. Caught up in the euphoria of her transformation, Adanne nearly forgot the one who had loved her before all this, her Aaron. Then she saw him, running down the road, his familiar face alight with joy. Aaron, her beloved, her fiancé, her friend. Her first instinct was to run into his arms, to cry in relief, but she paused. Doubts crept in. She was royalty. He was a commoner. Was he still enough for her now that the world finally accepted her? Was she allowed to want him still? As her heart raced with conflict, Aaron drew nearer, eyes shining with the same love that had never wavered. Adanne composed her features into a cold, formal mask just before Aaron reached her. When he did, the drummer boy's face lit up with joy, a grin wide enough to split his cheeks. Desperate delight radiated from him as he cried out, "My princess, how I have missed basking in your beauty and radiance." He stepped forward, arms outstretched, expecting a warm embrace after their painful separation. But Adanne stood unmoving, distant and reserved. She made no effort to welcome him. Undeterred, Aaron took another step, longing to hold his beloved betrothed once again. But Adanne recoiled sharply, her rejection like a slap across his heart. Hurt and bewildered, Aaron searched her eyes for answers, but found only a chilling emptiness. In a voice as sharp as frost, so unlike the warm, gentle tones he remembered, Adanne said she no longer wished to continue their relationship. She told him that after surviving the plagues and emerging more radiant than ever, her place was now among nobles, far above a mere drummer boy like him. Pain washed over Aaron's face, his sorrow unmistakable. "But, Adanne, I love you," he pleaded. "These long, silent months only made my love stronger. I'd do anything to make you my wife." Adanne met his gaze with fiery glare. "You will address me as Princess Adanne," she commanded coldly. "This conversation ends here. I deserve someone better than you." The cruel words gave her a bitter satisfaction. Without a backward glance or a moment's pause to hear his heartbroken cries, she turned and walked away, head held high, letting her elegant clothes and regal posture conceal the turmoil within. In her mind, cutting off Aaron so abruptly sealed that chapter of her life for good. Now, she was the object of desire among the nobility, with numerous suitors vying for her attention. She threw herself into court life, acting as though the humble drummer boy had never touched her heart. Adanne entertained extravagant proposals from respected lords and wealthy princes, men who had once scorned her, but now shamelessly praised her flawless skin, graceful poise, and royal demeanor. She smiled as she soaked in the compliments she once could never have imagined receiving. Yet, beneath the surface of adoration and splendor, regret slowly gnawed at her heart. Her treatment of Aaron haunted her. Weeks passed. King Chukua urged her to choose a husband before rumors began to damage her reputation. Eager to command attention, Adanne announced she would host a wrestling tournament. The strongest men in the kingdom would compete for her hand in marriage. Warriors from near and far flocked to the palace, hoping to win the heart of the now celebrated beauty. In the days leading up to the event, Adanne became obsessed with perfecting her appearance. Her maids worked tirelessly to groom her, but in her fixation on outward beauty, she began to neglect basic hygiene, forgoing even regular baths. Slowly, her old body odor returned on the morning of the tournament. The skies were clear, and the arena bustled with excitement. Adanne entered in a cascade of shimmering silks and glittering jewels, ready to dazzle the crowd. She raised her delicate hand to wave, but the cheers faltered. A murmur rippled through the audience as faces twisted in confusion, then disgust. People pulled back, wrinkling their noses at the strong, unpleasant odor surrounding the princess. Embarrassed, many turned their faces away. The wrestlers, once eager to impress her, now shook their heads and quietly left the arena. Whispers spread among the villagers, who soon began to cover their noses and gossip about the stench. Adanne stood frozen, Humiliated, shame surged through her. In a burst of anguish, she tore off her royal clothes and jewelry, letting them fall into the dirt. Tears stinging her eyes, she turned and fled the arena as fast as her legs could carry her as she ran, her gaze locked onto one figure standing alone, Prince Arinza. He stood tall, watching her with soft eyes filled with concern and sorrow. As Adanne hurried past, he stepped forward and walked toward her, each step steady and sure. When he reached her, he spoke gently. "My dear, precious one, how could you think so little of our love, of what we meant to each other? Why would you cast it aside for the fleeting praise of strangers?" Tears streamed down Aiden's face. She shook her head, voice trembling. "Please forgive me, Aaron. I made a terrible mistake. I thought outer beauty mattered more than love. I was vain, careless, and now I've lost the only thing that ever truly mattered, your love and care.